Hey, it's Mr. Allred. We're going to solve some quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. I have the quadratic formula over to the right here. The first one we're going to solve is 4x squared plus 8x plus 7 equals 4. And if you remember, everything needs to be on one side, so we're going to bring this 4 over. And we'll have 4x squared plus 8x plus 3 equals 0. That's what we're going to be working with. And with that, the A is 4, the B is 8, and the C is 3. So we're going to plug that into our formula. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. So I'm pulling the numbers I'm plugging in from my quadratic that I've identified, and on the bottom 2 times a. So I'll go back and I will try to identify the different parts. So a, that was not a good color choice. Let's try a different one. A was 4, so we can see that in the denominator and under the root. B was 8, so let's see, we can see that on the outside and under the root. And C was 3, we can see that under the root. But if you can follow the color pattern, we've got what we need here. So we definitely don't want to leave it like this. Let's clean it up. It may give us a nice answer, it may not. But we have negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus 48, it looks like, all over 8. A little bit more, negative 8 plus or minus the square root of, I believe that's 16 over 8. So, continuing on, we're just simplifying this radical right now. We've got negative 8 and the square root of 16 is 4. So negative 8 plus or minus 4 all over 8. So since I only got real nice round numbers here, let's break it into two parts. Negative 8 plus 4 over 8. And then the other one, negative 8 minus 4 over 8. Those 8s are getting a little weird on the bottom when I run out of room on my tablet to write. But let's see if I can fix it. Negative 8 minus 4 all over 8. So, negative 8 plus 4 over 8, that is negative 4 over 8, which is negative 1/2. The bottom one, negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12 all over 8. That gives me negative 3/2. So, two answers, negative 1/2, negative 3/2. So, if, like I said, if those come out to be nice numbers, it means you could have factored it. But if you tried factoring it and couldn't find the right pairs, the quadratic formula will pick it up for you. So, second example B, practice problem. 2x squared minus 7x minus 13 equals negative 10. Once again, we need to come back in here and add this 10 to both sides so that it's going to be equal to 0. So the formula we're going to work with is 2x squared minus 7x minus 3 equals 0. We like that a little bit better. The numbers are a little bit smaller, but that doesn't mean it's going to work any better. A is 2, B is negative 7, and C is negative 3. So let's start dropping that into our formula. X equals negative b. And it's very important that you remember that b is negative, a negative number, so a negative, plus the square root of b squared, so negative 7 squared, minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's see, I'm going to go back and kind of highlight things and make them match up. So if you're questioning where things come from, maybe you can follow it a little bit better. So let's clean it up a little bit. Negative 7 is a positive 7. plus or minus the square root of negative 7 squared is 49. And then we have minus, and there's another negative we're multiplying, so minus 4 times 2 times negative 3. Those two negatives will become a positive. 4 times 2 is 8, times 3 will be 24. And on the bottom, 2 times 2 will be 4. So as I carry out this row, I'll have 7 plus or minus the square root of 73 all over 4. Now, we like to make our root as simple as possible, so if there's anything we can pull out of the square root of 73, we should do it. But I know 73 is prime, so I can save myself that work, but you may want to check a number if you're unfamiliar with it. Okay, so this one's going to be left with the square root, and that's the way you should keep your answer. If you want to see approximately if that's right or plug it back in, it might be helpful to change it to a decimal somewhere along the way. Alright, let's see here. My last practice problem for this set is 8x squared plus 4x minus 16 minus x squared. So again, I don't have everything on one side, so let's move the x squared over. So the problem I'm going to be working is 9x squared plus 4x minus 16 equals 0. So when I have that, I'm going to be pulling an A of 9, a B of 4, and a C of negative 16. Sorry. I'll try not to be messy, but it happens. So let's plug these into our formula. Negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. Wow, I might have to pick up a calculator in this one, but let me highlight some things. A being 9. You can compare, make sure you got stuff in the right place. B being 4. And C being negative 16. Okay, so let's clean that up the best we can. Negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared is 16. Again, we got two minuses over here, so it'll be a plus. 4 times 9 times 16. I'm picking up my calculator. 576. And that's all over 18. So crummy 8. So let's see here. This is negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 592 all over 18. I don't think 592 has a nice root. It does not, but it is even, so I might try and break it down. Now, one thing I want to caution you here, you see this 4 up top and you see this 18. You can't reduce those just themselves. So this 18 is supposed to divide into the total up top, so it has to divide into the negative 4 and the square root of 592. And you can't divide into the 592 because that's the square root of 592, not 592. So you can't do anything with this 18 unless you can do it with numbers in both parts up here. But let's just see. I don't know how far we can get in breaking this down, but 592. I think that's divisible by 4, which I know is 2 and 2, but I'm going to pick up my calculator and say 592 divided by 4 is 148. Sorry, 148. Is that divisible by 4? Yes, it is. That's also divisible by 4. 4 and 37. I know 37 won't break down anymore, but I got two groups of 2's here. So what I learned over here was that the square root of 592 is the same thing as 2 times 2 times the square root of 37. So I'm going to rewrite my answer and see what happens. I'll have x equals negative 4 plus or minus 4 square roots of 37 all over 18. And this is a place I can reduce, because this 18 has a common factor with the 4 and the negative 4. They're all divisible by 2. So I can divide them all by 2, and I'll have negative 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 37 all over 9. Okay? And that would be my answer in simplest form, because I can't break the root down anymore and I can't reduce the fractions anymore. Okay.